Hey, listeners, do you enjoy listening to three guys make fun of each other while sometimes talking about sports? Then why not subscribe to What's on Tap?
And if you aren't sick of us yet, join the circus on Instagram at What's on Tap One or Twitter at What's on Tap Pod One.
Do you enjoy the pod? If so, don't forget to rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Hiya!
Yeah. Naveen in the booth talking hoops and the stats. Matt with the facts, bringing depth to the chats. Dave in the back got the plays on replay. What's on tap with the real pros relay? What's on tap? We never miss. Sports talk bliss. Feel the crisp hits. Tune in quick. Get your fix. Naveen, Matt, Dave with the tricks.
Welcome to another edition of the What's on Tap podcast, and we are pumped for a sports-filled show. Matt, Naveen, are you guys ready for some basketball? Are you ready for some baseball? Are we ready to go?
Yes, sir. March Madness is here. You know, it's one of the I don't want to say it's the best time of the year, but it's a very exciting one, especially for me in my college basketball fandom.
Yeah, March is here. March Madness is literally coming up. We're going to be going to Providence, like I said last time. I'm excited for that. Hopefully we can win some money on some bets and buy our way into the arena because it's going to be very expensive. But some people say summer's their favorite season. Some people say fall. Others say baseball season, and that's what we're here to talk about, baseball season and a little bit of March Madness.
Yeah, so before we're going to have a nice oversized MLB preview today. But before we do, let's just get into the madness really quick. I asked you guys just to confirm this is the best postseason ever of any sport. NCAA basketball, nothing's better. It's just incredible, especially that first weekend. I'm looking forward to watching just that, but we can also talk about who we think is going to go the distance. To me, guys, I think that looking at the one seeds, this is actually a pretty strong crop of one seeds. You have Auburn, Duke, Florida, and why am I blanking on the last team? Houston. Houston is the last team. Who do you guys like to make a deep run and possibly win it all?
Well, I think you guys know who I like. I'm a Duke fan, so I think Duke. I really do think that Duke's going to run the table. They're deep, they're talented. I think they're too deep and too talented for the rest of the field.
Yeah, I'm a Florida fan, mostly in football, basketball. I like UConn, and I'll pull for Florida when they're in it. I'm not the biggest college basketball fan in the world, but filling out a bracket is always fun. We got one between the three of us. Loser has to buy dinner, and I'll tell you guys my Final Four right now. It consists of 2 1 seeds and 2 2 seeds. I have Michigan State, Florida, Duke, Tennessee, with Florida and Duke in the finals and Florida winning it all. I think they're playing hot right now. They're playing, I think, the best basketball in the country. They just won the SEC championship. And even if it's not Florida, if you ask me what conference is going to win this year, I'd say it's the SEC. The ACC literally has just Duke. The SEC has a bunch of teams that I think can win it. You mentioned Auburn before. Alabama, if they get hot, they can win it. Florida, I think, has a very good shot at winning it. They have the second most percentage of people filling out the bracket with Florida winning. So, yeah, I'd say the SEC is pretty tough conference, and I think the winners coming out of there, and I have that being Florida.
You know, we pride ourselves on giving hard-hitting analysis here on the What's on Tap pod. What I would suggest for this is just pick the teams that you want to root for. I mean, nobody knows anything. The experts never do any better than the 80-year-old woman in Ohio who fills out a bracket. It's 100% luck more than any other sport. So if you want to pick a team based on you think their mascot is cool or you like the sound of their name, go for it because nobody knows anything. If you like an upset, a 16 over a 1, probably not going to happen, but go for it. Having said that, I like both your picks because I think that those two teams are probably the two best teams. Florida is the hottest team. Duke is just really good. I believe in KenPom, they're second in offense and third in defense. They're definitely top 5 in both categories, which is a very good sign. Typically, a national champion is top in both those categories. They're a well-balanced team. And so Duke would fit that. I actually haven't finished my bracket yet because I just want to see like a team like UNC. They don't deserve to be in this tournament, by the way, but I feel like when that happens, they're going to feel so disrespected and have motivation and may win a game or two. So if they win tonight, I might pick them to win their first game. But even the games that I already know, I'm having a hard time picking. So I'm not sure yet. You guys have Florida and Duke. I might do something different just to mix it up and make it more fun. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll take your dinner money if that's the case, because I think that's what it's going to be.
Yes, last time. So did you mention that the bet is actually the loser has to pay dinner?
Yeah.
Matt did say that. Yeah,
You did. Okay, yeah. So I lost last year. So hopefully I can come out on top this time. But
that's right. Where we saw UConn and Purdue at Archie's, and yeah, it was wonderful because I feel like good meals are always the free ones. So great job, Dave. Proud of you.
Can't beat it. Yeah, best price.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You're actually not doing great on our little bets. The only one that you didn't win was, I think, didn't De Blasi lose one, and he's not even part of the show.
No, the one that us three and De Blasi had, like we were in Cooperstown and we picked a week's worth of games, and I lost that, and I had to say 10 nice things about the Patriots. So
that's right. That's right.
I've had some bad luck.
Actually, last year too in the MLB predictions, you were so high on the Rangers to make it back to the playoffs, and we both left them out. We should have taken you up on that bet because you were very confident in them.
You have to make big swings, and I'm going to make a couple in our MLB playoff or our MLB preview we're about to have. So we'll see.
I respect it.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to the main segment of the show. We are going to preview each division. We're going to look at who we think is going to win the division. We're going to look at MVP, Cy Young, pick a World Series. So we'll go through it all. We're going to start in the National League. We're going to start out west with the World Series champ. I guess the Dodgers, or should I say, I think we are. Do you guys all have the Dodgers winning this division? And if not, who do you have?
I think in a very dream scenario, I have the Rockies to make a couple million.
Onions.
And retire tomorrow. But no, I have the Dodgers. They're freaking good. They literally just won either this morning or last night in Japan against the Cubs. They're doing I don't know something abroad, which is pretty cool, but great for the game. Yeah, this one is definitely going to the Dodgers.
Yeah, they did play the Cubs. They got another game, I think, tomorrow. Yeah, they have like half of Japan's World Baseball Classic team on their team now. It seems like they're World Series champs. They're probably one of the deepest teams in all of baseball. All-stars everywhere. Yes, I have the Dodgers winning it all in the NL.
So I also have the Dodgers winning this division. They're even better than they were last year, and they were nasty last year. It's weird to say it's not fair because it's pro sports, but it seems like every big free agent, especially Japanese free agent, as you mentioned, is going to them. And they fixed their pitching staff, which was already pretty good. They brought in Blake Snell, who when he's on is one of the best pitchers in the league. And they brought in Sasaki from Japan, who, like you said, is pitching tonight. And their lineup is just as good as it was. So, and you might have Ohtani pitching.
Well, go back to their pitching, though. They could get Shohei to pitch again. I mean, there are some doubts that he might not be ready for opening day, but, he would be a 1 or a 2 on essentially any other team, and you can slot him in at 5. And be okay.
Do you guys think that they're going to have an amazing regular season? Like, we know they're going to win the division, but their over-under right now is 103.5 wins. That's very rare to see that. Do you think they're just going to blow everyone out of the water and win, 105, 110 games?
I think that for them to win 103 games or more, they're going to have to come out hot. And they're definitely capable of it. Because I always think of the COVID season where it was a shortened season where it's like any team could just get hot for 60 games and be good and win that year. But 162 is a long time. But these Dodgers have done it year in and year out. They did win in COVID and they just won last year. So, a lot of veteran guys, a lot of good veteran guys. So I have no problem seeing it.
I don't know if they what'd you say 103
103 and a half.
I mean, they didn't even win 100 games last year. They won 90, 98. I I I think it's tough in baseball. There's so many ups and downs. You have a couple key injuries here and there. You can go on a bit of a downswing. I would say probably not. I think they're probably gonna hover around what they did last year, around that 100 win mark. Yeah, getting 103 is no easy feat. As good as they are, I think last year when we were doing this, I was a bit down on the Dodgers. Not the prediction podcast, but one of the podcasts throughout the season, because I thought they would just completely blow everyone out of the water, and they really weren't. So I think the same thing's going to happen again this season. They'll hover around 100 wins.
Okay. So looking to the other teams in the division, who do you guys have in second place, and do you have them making the playoffs?
Yep.
I do. So for my second place, I have the Padres actually, and I think that they will make the playoffs again. I mean, like you said, Dave, they lost Snell, um, and so I mean, I don't think he had the. I mean, I think he was all right last year, but they lost him, and it's addition by it's not addition by subtraction. The Padres lost him, which sucks, but I still think they're good enough to get a wild card spot.
I like the Padres overall team, but I think the Diamondbacks are a little bit better, and I'm going to stick with the Diamondbacks to make it in the wild card. I think they're going to be the second place team over the Padres. I have the Padres in third, just because there's some issues going on with the Padres and their ownership. Their owner just passed away. They don't really have an owner right now. There's rumblings that Dylan Cease could be on the move. He could be a trade asset. He's their top pitcher right now, especially now that they lost Snell. So, yeah, for those reasons, I'm going to say the Padres are going to be in third, and the Diamondbacks are going to take the wild card in second place.
I actually have both those teams in the playoffs.
Well.
I have the same order as Naveen. I like the Padres this year a lot. Their over-under is 85.5. I would smash the over on that. I think they're going to win 90-plus games because, yes, they did, excuse me, they did lose Snell, but they still have a really good lineup, and Merrill was kind of a revelation for them last year. And then you put him with Tatis, who we know is a superstar. Machado's getting up there in years, but he's still a star. You have Arias as your leadoff guy, got a great eye, great contact hitter. And their rotation, if Cease stays there, is pretty good between Cease, King, Darvish, and Pivetta, who they got from the Red Sox. That's a really good 1-4. So I take them. I do like the Diamondbacks as well. I love them picking up Corbin Burns. Yep. They still have a really good lineup. I'm worried about their relief pitching, just like last year, but their starting pitching should be a lot better because then you have Burns and then Gallen and then Merrill Kelly is back healthy. So I like both of them.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I have Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, and then Giants, Rockies.
I only have the Diamondbacks making it to the playoffs. I don't have the Padres. I have the Padres missing out by a smidge to another team in the National League. Wow. I have the Giants and then Rockies at the end. The Giants and Rockies just aren't gonna be able to compete with the big dogs in this division. Not this year.
Agreed. I have the same order. So, all right. So let's move on now to the NL Central. And last year we had the Brewers win this division. Do you guys think they're going to repeat, or are we going with a different team?
Shout out you, Naveen. Last year you called this. I think that Dave and I didn't have the Brewers even making the playoffs. I think we had them. I think I had them in last, actually. And wow. They ended up shocking me. I'm not going to go with the Brewers. I'm going to go with the pick I had last year yet again. I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs, my arch rival. Dave and I are Cardinals fans, so yes, we hate the Cubs. I mean, just bringing in Kyle Tucker makes a huge difference. He was in contention before he got hurt last year in the MVP discussion, right there with Aaron Judge and Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr. He is one of the most underrated players in baseball just because he was on that Houston Astros team where you had Altuve and Jordan and Verlander. You had a lot of big names. But as an actual ball player, he was probably better than all of them because Jordan can't really play the field. So with the addition of him, I still like their lineup. Um, they have a decent pitching staff. Not anything great. This division is not as nearly as strong as the NL West or East. So I think they're going to be merchants of a bad division. And I'm going to say the Cubs come out on top.
So actually, I still have the Brewers winning the division, and then I do have the Cubs in second, but I don't have the Cubs making the playoffs. I don't think the Central is very good. For I don't think either Central is good. But yeah, the Brewers are the only team that I have making the playoffs. The Brewers picked up Nestor from the Yankees after he gave up a grand slam in Game 1 to lose the game, which I thought was great. But I mean, he's still a good pitcher. So I mean, that's an asset for them in their starting pitching. But yeah, I have the Brewers, and that's it.
The odds makers like the Cubs slightly over the Brewers for the division. I'm going to agree with Naveen again. I have the Brewers winning the division. I think that one word to describe this team is consistent. They're consistently solid. They're always good. They never make noise in the playoffs, but this isn't about that. And excuse me, I think they just have a good team. And yes, the Cubs did pick up Kyle Tucker. I think they probably have a higher ceiling. But I still, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be going back and forth each season. But I'm going to trust in the infrastructure of what the Brewers have built. And they have a pretty damn good team themselves. When you look at their lineup, and they have solid pitching. I don't like that they lost Devin Williams, their star closer. But I'm just going to pick the infrastructure and consistency of the Brewers and put the Cubs in second. And I also have the Cubs missing the playoffs.
Yeah. I only have one team out of this division. That's the Cubs. I think the top 3 teams are going to be blanketed by five games, and the third team being the Reds. They have some good young talent. They have Hunter Green there, Ellie De La Cruz, who I think is probably one of the most overrated players in the league. He strikes out all the time. Led the league last year in strikeouts, but undeniably electric. And Matt McLean, they have a lot of decent players there on the Reds that are young and are going to continue to grow and develop. And I think this is the year they take that step, not to, make too much noise, but they're going to be in contention late in the season for this division.
I actually have the Reds in fourth. I have the Pirates in third. I think that, first of all, what's crazy? That Andrew McCutchen is still on the Pirates. Do you believe that?
Yeah, that's crazy. I listened to an interview with him on Starting 9 with Jared Carrabis and Dallas Braden and everything. And yeah, he's still in the league, still somewhat productive. And that, I think it was good to bring him back, have some veteran leadership in that clubhouse because there's a lot of young guys.
I think they're going to have a star pitcher there out front in Skeens. That I am so excited to see what that guy does. He has Hall of Fame potential, and he showed it last year how dominant he was in his starts. So I'm really curious. And then they also have another young pitcher, Jared Jones, who's very highly touted in their rotation. And they have some good young hitters like O'Neal Cruz played well last year, Brian Reynolds. The Reds, I like those players you mentioned, but outside of those players, there's not a lot I love. Although I do love one Reds player. His name's Hunter Green. Watch out for him this year. I made sure to pick him up in our fantasy league because I think he's going to be close to what Scuba was in terms of the jump he took last year for the Tigers. Hunter Green, look at his advanced stats. He was dominant last year.
Yeah, the one thing with the Pirates, I don't know if Skeens actually added a couple pitches, and he's been trying them in spring training. He had 133 innings last year with a sub-1 WHIP and a 1.96 ERA. Like that, for a guy going into his second year, he's going to be their ace. I'm not taking anything away from him. I just don't know if he's going to be able to repeat that type of performance. And just around them, again, I like the guys you named for the Pirates. I just think there's less there than what the Reds have, and that's why I have the Pirates actually finishing last behind our team.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me, guys. I have a cough.
No problem.
Yeah, the Cardinals I have last in last place, and I just think that I guess they might have a little more depth than the Reds and the Pirates, but they have less star power. And I think the Cardinals, incentive is to tank. And
Wait,
I think
do
they're
both
going
you guys have the Cardinals in last?
No, I have Pirates in last. I said.
Oh,
I have Cardinals in fourth.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, go
well,
off on them.
I'll tell you
Go
what,
off on them.
if you look at the win totals, they're tied with the Pirates for last in the division. But yeah, okay, so the Cardinals, it's been such a disappointment in team building. Obviously, this has been a class organization. We've talked about it, but Goldschmidt's now gone. Arenado should be gone, and he probably will be by the trade deadline. They're relying on their young guys to develop. The problem is we have been unable to develop young guys, and they've all shown flashes. Newt Bar, Wynn, Donovan, Walker. They've all shown flashes to varying degrees, but they haven't put it all together, and that's our fault. So they're hoping to foster those guys to become stars, but I think the Cardinals' incentive is to tank. Helsley's our best player. He's our closer. He's great trade bait at the trade deadline. So I don't want to see them hovering around 500 like last year. I want to see them be bad because they need to. And they're bringing in Shane Bloom, all this new leadership next year. It's just a transitional year.
Yeah.
So last place.
Yep. I couldn't do it. Couldn't put them in last. They actually have they're ahead of the Pirates and the Reds to win this division, which is weird. They're plus 600. Cincy's plus 650, and the Pirates are plus 700. Yeah, I echo everything you said, Dave. The roster building's pitiful. They haven't been able to develop an arm either. You have some guys in the minors like Tink Hintz and another guy whose name I'm blanking on, but they're going to be down there. Yeah, we have like a few like good players like Nupar. If you watch him day in day out, he's a very solid player. He gets hurt all the time though. Walker has not been able to develop. People thought he was going to be a star. He's bad defensively in right field, and whenever he's up at the major league level, he just doesn't drive the ball, hit the ball in the air. He's been so disappointing for a kid that had a lot of promise and people were super high on. And yeah, like you said, it's a traditionally transitional year. The years of Yadier, Molina, and Wainwright are past us, and we're in this weird time where there's not really a household name outside of Nolan Arenado, who, like you said, probably should be moved and hopefully will be at the deadline. I don't know what you're going to get from him. He's been declining year in, year out. So, yeah, they should have moved on from him in the offseason. And I thought they should have moved on from Helsley last year, traded him to a team that needed some bullpen help, a team that had a lot of prospects like the Orioles. That's what I was saying last year. I know you're not going to get a ton for a reliever, but I think it would have been good for both sides. The Orioles have a good farm system. They had a crappy bullpen last year, especially towards the end. I think that would have been a match made in heaven, and for whatever reason, didn't work out.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go on to the final National League division. I'm really curious to see what you guys say here because there's three teams that you can make a reasonable argument for first place. So who do you guys have winning the division?
I have the Phillies winning this one. To be honest, I just feel good about them winning the division. I mean, I think it's going to be tight. I mean, I thought, the Mets, I don't want to say they came out of nowhere, but they did really well for being the Mets. I was kind of rooting for them at the end there. But no, for me, I have the Phillies, and then my wild card team from this division, I have the Braves.
I have the Braves winning this division. I think they have the second best rotation in this division behind the Phillies, but you have Spencer Swallenbach, Spencer Strider, you have Chris Sale there still. I think their rotation's still good enough, but I think their lineup, when everyone's on and everyone's clicking, is better. And it's tough to gamble on health, but that's what I'm going to do with Acuna. I hope he comes back. And everyone just had a down year, and I'm banking on that not happening again. Matt Olson had a down year compared to what he did the year before, where he hit 50-plus bombs. And Austin Riley can't be that bad. Ozzie Albies got hurt last year as well. Michael Harris Jr., Michael Harris II, their outfielder had a down year. The only guy that had a good year last year was Marcelo Ozuna, who hit 45, I think, home runs, somewhere around there, ex-Cardinal. I think that if healthy, I think everyone's going to step up, make have a bounce back season, and they're going to win this division. I think just that lineup is a tad bit better than the Padres. Phillies. Sorry.
Yeah, I echo everything you just said. I completely agree. They won 89 games last year, and it was a worst case scenario for all their players except Azuna. And when you think about it, like Acuna and Strider were their two best players. They lost them both. All those players regressed, and yet they still won 89 games. So their over unders 93.5. I would smash the over on that. And plus, this is a team that develops and has a great system. They're always good, good, really good, and they're either really good or great. And I think they're going to be great this year. They have a fantastic closer as well, so I just think that they're going to be awesome. I like the Phillies. I don't like them as much as I did last year. I was tempted to pick them, if you remember, to win the division. I didn't end up doing it, but I think that they're still really good. They're aging a little bit, and I find that a little concerning. Their core is aging. When you look at Harper and Turner and Schwarber, those guys are getting old. Castellanos.
Yep.
Yeah, so they still have a really good rotation. They did lose some stuff in the bullpen. So I actually do have them making the playoffs, but as a wild card.
I echo everything that you just said with the Phillies. I totally agree. They didn't really make any moves, and they always seem to somewhat underperform when it comes to playoff time. And yeah, they're all getting up there in age. They're all another year older. So I have the Phillies in second place, but with a wild card spot.
Do either of you have the Mets in the playoffs? Because their over-under is 90.5.
I do. Yep. I have the Mets. I have the Mets in third place in this division. I have them winning the wild card. I think if you could combine the Mets and the Yankees, that would be a World Series contender, like winning 115 games, because the Yankees have a good rotation and a not great lineup, where the Mets lineup I think is pretty deep, and their rotation worries me. That's why I have them in third place. They have Senga, and outside of that, I mean, they have the Yankees closer from last year, Clay Holmes, converted to being a starting pitcher.
Well, they also signed a guy for $765 million.
Yes, yeah, Juan Soto. That's what their lineup is top tier, I think. But I mean, their rotation consists of Senga, Peterson, Holmes, Blackburn, and Griffin Canning. I think the rotation is like a C minus. Their bullpen a B minus, and their lineup I think is like A plus.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you combined them and the Yankees, you would get the Dodgers.
I think you get a team better than the Dodgers, but I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. You have to move Judge over to the Mets, but I mean, Mark Vientos had a breakout season last year. They signed back Pete Alonso, who is just like a pure slug hitter. It doesn't hit for a high average, but I mean, when he's on, he can get you 45 plus homers every single year. You have Lindor, who is one of the best shortstops in the game, and that's saying a lot compared, if you look around the league and look at the shortstops, he's still right up there. And they have Brandon Nimmo, another underrated guy, but an on-base machine. And their bullpen is pretty solid, and you got Edwin Diaz shutting the door for you. So I think the Mets are good. They're not as good as the Phillies or Braves heading into the season. They have a big pocketbook, and they signed Juan Soto. Like, the case closed. I think this is a wild card team.
So I actually disagree with you a little bit. I do like their lineup, but I have concerns about the Soto signing, not just for the money. I think that he was awesome last year in the friendly confines of Yankee Stadium. I think that he knew that he was playing for a contract. Some of the quotes he's given in the offseason, some of even how he looks physically, I think he's going to regress a little bit. Now, I think he could still be really good, like a top 12 to 15 hitter, but I think he'll be a little closer to what he was at San Diego, which was a top 10, 12 hitter, as to, last year when he was the third best hitter in the league. And I think they need him to be the third best hitter in the league, because their pitching, as you said, is a concern. And there's not one guy. I mean, Senga I like, but he was a rookie last year, and his season ended. He was banged up. So you're relying on him, and then Manaya's injured, Montas is injured. So I think it was really cool to see kind of their Cinderella run last year, but it might be a little fluky. And I just think they need Soto to be what he was last year, and I just don't think he's going to be that. I could see that being a disappointing year, and the Mets fans freaking out about it.
It would be so Mets for him to hit 235 with 15 home runs at the All-Star break, and everyone freaking out. I don't think the life of the contract's gonna end up being good, but
No.
for next year, I don't have too many concerns heading into this season. We'll see what happens though.
Well, like Dave said, the confines of Yankee Stadium are hitter friendly. City Field is a lot bigger. It's a bigger outfield. He's got a great bat, but some of those home runs will be doubles, right? So that total will go down, and then also his defense. He's a liability on defense. They tried to hide him in right field. Like I said, the outfield is a lot bigger at City than Yankee Stadium. So defensively, his liability will go up. I don't know who they have in center field, but a lot more pressure is going to be on him, especially. And then that's not even going into playing on a $765 million contract. He's got to live up to the billing now, and the pressure's on.
He was also hitting in front of Aaron Judge, who's one of the best players in the league. I mean, Alonso's a really good player, but he's not Aaron Judge. One other team I like in this division, not to make the playoffs, but I think to be hit their over, is the Nationals. I think they have a good young core, especially in their lineup. That you look at guys like James Wood and Dylan Cruz, they're not household names, but they're two outfielders who, young players, rookies who are kind of loaded with talent. And I just, you have Luis Garcia, CJ Abrams. They brought in Josh Bell, Nathaniel Lowe for some power. I think they can be fun. Hover around 500, which to me would be well over their over-under of 72.5. And Marlins suck, so I'm not going to talk about them, but Nationals could be fun.
Yeah, I have the same order with the Nationals in fourth and Miami in last. I'm interested to see where if they move on from Sandy Alcantara this season. I think they probably should get something back for him because he's probably not going to stay there long term.
Okay, so before we go to the AL, let's just run through our playoff teams really quick. I had in the West, the Dodgers winning division, Padres and Diamondbacks getting wild cards. In the Central, I had the Brewers, just the Brewers. And then in the East, I had the Braves winning the division and the Phillies as the wild card.
So I had literally the same thing, except just flip the Phillies and the Braves.
I had Dodgers, D-backs in the West, Cubs winning the Central, and then the Braves in the East with the Phillies and Mets as the wild card teams.
Okay, so let's head to the American League. And I'll tell you guys, I kind of went chalky on NL, but I went a lot crazier with the AL. So AL West, it's been the Astros division for a long time. Is it going to continue to be the Astros division, or will their age start to show?
Well, I think starting with the Astros, they got rid of Bregman. He is no more for the Astros. So, another hit to that World Series core team that they had with Altuve and Correa and George Springer and stuff. Another piece of that puzzle is gone. And so for the West, I actually have the Mariners winning that division.
Wow.
With the Astros being my wild card team.
It's good sized onions there. Got some Vidalias.
Let's go.
No. I think I'm going chalk on this one. I believe they are favorites. Actually, no, they are not. They are second favorites. I have the Texas Rangers winning this division. Wow. I think they have the best lineup. Dave, you were high on them last year. Mm-hmm. I think that's typical World Series hangover. I think DeGrom, if he can stay healthy, he has a case to win Cy Young again. He's inning by inning, probably the most dominant pitcher we have seen. over the course of his career. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. But if he can pitch 145 innings for this team, I think that'd be huge. They don't have a great rotation, but their lineup out of these 5 teams in this division, their lineup is just completely filthy. And I think similar to the who did I say had the Braves, similar to the Braves, I think there's guys in this lineup that'll have bounce back seasons, especially Garcia, outfielder. He was incredible for them on their World Series run, but had an abysmal season last year. So I think he has a bounce back season, helps carry this team to an AL West division title.
Wow. Okay, so we're all three of us are disagreeing because I think the Astros are going to continue to win this division. I trust in their system. I think there's definitely a possibility they can downslide with what they lost, and with their age, but I think that their pitching is still really good. I think that they still have a really good lineup. I mean, they still have Alvarez, they still have Altuve. I like that they brought the guys they brought in, Christian Walker from the Diamondbacks. I think he's a really good player, and then Paredes is pretty good too at third base. So, and their pitching is solid. So I think that it's going to be close because I have another team making the playoffs here, but I like the Astros to win. The other team I have in is the Mariners. So I have the Mariners making the playoffs just because, for a long time it's been their pitching is dominant and their offense has not been able to keep pace. And I think that the offense just needs to be okay, and they're fine. Because if you have Gilbert and Castillo and Bryce Miller, that's as good of a 1-2-3 as anyone. I mean, Gilbert is probably one of the most underrated pitchers in the league. He was first in the league in WHIP last year, and Castillo is just always consistent. And Miller was great last year. So Julio Rodriguez, are you going to step up? Are you going to play like you did when you were a rookie? Because they need that. Cal Raleigh, power hitter at catcher. Can you repeat that? A Rosarina they picked up. Like, that's a guy who needs to go back to what he was in Tampa. But I think they have a potential to be pretty good on offense, or at least okay. And their pitching, I know, is going to be good.
I have Seattle second in the wild card spot. I agree with everything you said. Last year, their offense was 29th in average and 22nd in OPS plus. If they can be kind of in the mid-teens, I think this team has a really good chance at probably overtaking the Rangers, but I just don't see that happening. I think the Rangers are just that much better than them. This is another instance where you combine the Seattle rotation with the Rangers offense. This team would be invincible, I feel like. But yeah, they have a full year now with Randy Rosarena. They traded for him last year, and you have to get bounce back performances from guys like J.P. Crawford and Jorge Polanco as well. You mentioned Raleigh, you mentioned Rodriguez. Rodriguez, maybe he's just an all-star level player. Maybe he's not that generational talent that everyone thought. This is kind of the year where he has to show, hey, I am that generational talent, and bounce back big time. So we'll see what happens. Their offense just has to be middle of the pack, and this team's going to be dangerous.
So as far as Texas, I actually am lower on them this year. I thought going into this that I'd be much higher on them, but you said their lineup is great, and I think it is on paper. But if you look a little deeper, so Simeon's a really good second baseman, Seager's a really good shortstop, but Garcia was not good last year. His numbers were okay, but he was not good, and I know that because he's on my fantasy team. And you're expecting him to have some power. You're expecting Wyatt Langford to ascend. We don't know if he will.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge X factor. And then, as you said, the pitching staff is a huge question mark. I can't at all trust DeGrom. I know he's good, but he's never healthy. And their bullpen is still a mess. I mean, they're relying on, in their rotation, they're relying on Jack Leiter Jr. and Kumar Rocker, two guys who were very, very highly touted prospects, but who knows what they are at the major league level. So I actually have them in third in this division and missing the playoffs. I'd go under on their 85.5 win total here.
That's fair. I have the Astros in third. I think you're underselling a bit the loss of Kyle Tucker going to the Cubs. You also lost Ryan Presley who's been a key role in their bullpen. My hot take, though, for them is that Isaac Paredes is going to hit more home runs this season than Alex Bregman's going to hit in Boston. He's a dead pull hitter. Yep. Yep. I think that's my hot take. I know we're not necessarily doing that for each division, but I did have that on there. I mean, they also lost Verlander, that leadership. Who knows how much of a impact that has? It's not like it's a young team, but that's still Justin Verlander, a Hall of Famer, multiple time Cy Young Award winner and MVP, leaving your team. That has to have some sort of impact. And I mean, Altuve's still a very good player. I don't know. There meant talks of him playing left field this season to help out. So he's going to be playing a completely new position, and he's getting up there in age. He's not that same player he was in 2017 when they won the whole thing and he was MVP. So I have the Astros in third place, but I have them missing the playoffs.
I don't think moving Altuve to left field is a good idea. I think he becomes a bigger liability in the outfield.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's shorter than I am, and in second base you don't really have to cover a lot at second base. It's not left field, right?
Right.
The dude's an infielder. Keep him in the infield. Don't be stupid and put him in the outfield. That would be terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. And then Athletics and Angels, we don't have to spend a lot of time on them. Athletics, feel bad for them. They have some good young players. Brent Rooker was great last year. I wanted him on my fantasy team, but my dad stole him. So, and the Angels, I'm just curious to see what Trout does, if he can have a second wind in his career.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that as well. I think the A's can be fun to watch. They're playing in a minor league ballpark. If you're into a lot of runs, I think watching them will be pretty interesting. They actually spent some money this year bringing in Luis Severino and Gio Urshela. I think this team is going to be like a 75, to 80 win team. They won 69 games last year, but I think, like I said, I think they're going to be fun. They have Brett Rooker, like you mentioned. Lawrence Butler, I think, is a very, very good player. He's got that speed power combo, and also Mason Miller in their bullpen was an electric closer last year, and he's fun to watch. He throws absolute gas. So they're building for the future, and these are players I feel like they need to keep, but they won't. In a couple years, they'll flip them for more prospects and restart the whole thing all over again. And the Angels are the Angels. They signed a third baseman a few years back, Anthony Rendon, who doesn't care about baseball, to a massive deal. They have Mike Trout, where they're moving to right field. I hope he can stay healthy. He was on pace to possibly be, like, statistically, like WAR-wise and all that, one of the greatest players of all time. Now his chase for 500 home runs is up in the air because he constantly gets hurt. So I'm hoping he can have a good season and a healthy season. But at the same time, like, this guy's been like the best player in baseball since he's came up. He's done nothing to grow the game. So part of me feels bad for him, but I also, it's his prerogative. He doesn't have to be public. He doesn't have to be forward facing, but part of me is a bit jaded towards Mike Trout. Like, you see him more at Eagles playoff games than you see him like trying to grow the game of baseball or being an ambassador for baseball. He's just not like that. So I don't feel that bad for him.
Now we head to the AL Central, which we didn't give respect to last year. I remember just saying, I think I even remember saying, like, let's just go quickly over this one. But they ended up having 3 teams that were competing for a playoff spot. And so we have to give them the respect. Who do you have winning it?
I have the Royals. Bobby Witt's a young kid. I think he's going to carry them to win the division. Like I said, with the NL Central, I don't think the AL Central is good either. But if I'm going to have to pick a team to win it, it's going to be the Royals.
Yeah, Twins are plus 210, Royals plus 270, Tigers are plus 270 as well, Guardians plus 300. Those are the 4 teams competing for it. And I am going to also go with the Royals to win this division. It might be somewhat of an overreaction to how good Seth Lugo pitched last year because he was a big part of that. He was somewhat in the Cy Young conversation. He's never really been that type of pitcher. So it might be an overreaction on my part, but I like the signing of Jonathan India. I like Cole Reagans. Bobby Witt, like you mentioned, he was in the MVP conversation. And yeah, if Aaron Judge didn't exist, he probably would have won it over Gunnar. Another guy with that speed power combo. He's an electric player to watch. Another shortstop. So I have Kansas City winning this division.
I'll make it a trio. I completely agree. I think the Royals, they're 83.5 win total right now. I mean, Vegas thinks they're going to be a 500 team, which I think is disrespectful. They won 86 games last year and they're a little better.
Yeah.
So,
but Salvador Perez just doesn't age, just continues to mash the ball.
Right. I guess I'll talk about the Guardians then, because they won it last year. They went 92-69. Their win total is 82.5. So Vegas has them dropping 10 games. And I see why. I think that the odds are about right for this team. And I think they take a big step back. They lost a lot in the offseason. In addition, they were also a very lucky team. Luck is a factor that is now an advanced stat in baseball. And they were one of the luckiest teams. Even if you look at their bullpen, how good it was, that's gotta regress a little bit. I mean, Class A is incredible, but even if he's incredible, I mean, the rest of the bullpen can't be that good. And the fact that also you lost some players there too in their lineup, I think, Ramirez is amazing, but at some point he's got to regress. So I just think that this team is a regression candidate. And I also don't love their rotation either. Tanner Bibby's their number one starter, and he's a good player, but he's your ace. I don't know. I think that this team might get second or third place in the division, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
I have them at second in this division, and I have them sneaking into a wild card just over the Tigers. I think the Tigers still a bit young. The Guardians lost Ramirez, but I still have faith in this team to be pretty decent. There's one team behind them, the Twins. I have fourth. I don't want to just run through all my teams, but I have the Twins fourth because these are the main competition, and I think the Twins were favored to win this division. They just, similar to what you said about DeGrom, they have three guys that if they're healthy and they play 140 games each, they can definitely win this division. If they're not healthy, they're not going to win this division, and that's Correa, Buxton, and Royce Lewis. And just throughout their careers, they just have not been healthy. So it's tougher if it's one guy staying healthy. I'll think about it and possibly put a bet on that. Like, yeah, they can. That the team can overcome that if that guy goes down, maybe. But three guys, nah, I'm not taking that. I have the Twins in fourth place.
Yeah, I totally agree on the injury risk for the Twins. Too risky. The Tigers, I'm not that high on either, though. I mean, I have the Twins over the Tigers, but I like their rotation. Skubal, you guys know how I feel about Skubal. I think he's the best pitcher in baseball. I'm glad I got to draft him again in our fantasy league. But they were it was so fluky last year. Let's be honest. That run they made, they don't have one stud in their lineup. I mean, Riley Green's good. He's their best hitter right now, Riley Green. I like that they got Flaherty back. I think he'll be good in Detroit where there's no pressure because he does better when there's no pressure. And then Reese Olson was solid last year. But other than that, I mean, I think that they won 86 games last year. Their over-under is 83.5. I would take the under there. Maybe their pitching can keep them around there, but
I think the Tigers are sub 500.
Mm-hmm. And then the White Sox. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Amit.
I'm okay. Yeah, I agree with Matt on that. Because just like Matt, I have the Guardians picking up a wild card spot. And I have the Tigers in third, and then I have the Twins and then the White Sox. The White Sox were sellers. Gave up a bunch of pitching. Cease, Crochet. So two of their workhorses. So they're going to be at the bottom. Twins, I don't know. I don't think they have it either, but I have the White Sox in last for that division.
Before I started my research for this, I probably couldn't name off the top of my head other than Robert, I probably couldn't have named one other player on the White Sox. Maybe one more if I really thought about it. Their team is so bad if you look at it. And Robert is honestly not even that good anymore either.
I think he checked. I mean, he was hurt last year and he checked out. I think he's still good. I think he just checked out. I mean, he has a lot of talent, but I mean, you could be right. He just might be washed. Does happen. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's no hope for the White Sox right now. No hope at all.
All right, final division, AL East. If you don't mind, I like to start here. So this is where I got crazy.
You're gonna pick the Red Sox.
So I think that the Boston Red Sox are going to win the division.
Oh, I love it.
I knew you would love that, Naveed. I honestly, like, when I was thinking about it in the offseason before I did my research for the pod, I'm just thinking, well, I kind of like the Red Sox. And then I did my research. I'm like, I think this team is good enough for me to make a crazy prediction. This lineup is full of deep and young talent mixed with veteran star presence. I like Bregman coming in. I disagree with Matt. I think that that's a great pickup for them. And I always like Devers. He's a star. And then Duran, is a rising star. And I always like Casas, or I liked Casas last year. So, and then, of course, bring in Crochet, who's maybe the best strikeout pitcher in baseball.
Well, they needed an ace, and they filled that role.
Exactly. I mean, he's awesome. And he was awesome in Chicago last year, a place where he could have checked out like Robert, but he was awesome. And then to put him with Hawk as well, or is it Hawk or Houck? I can't.
Tanner
Houck, right? Houck. They lost Pavetta, but I think the one thing I'm worried about is they're going to have to rely on Buehler to turn back the clock a little bit.
Buehler, yeah.
But I don't know. Their over under is 86.5. Obviously, I like the over, and I just went with it because every year there's a team that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I mean the Red Sox addressed their concerns. I mean, they needed Bregman, they needed a right-handed power bat to help balance the lineup because a lot of them are lefties. And then as far as pitching, like you said, we got Crochet and Walker Buehler. We still have Bayo, in addition to Houck and in addition to Houck, and then what's the other guy? But they have essentially six starting pitchers that they can go to for the Sox. But yeah, I actually don't have them winning the division because I still think they're maybe like one or two pieces away from being consistently in that winning the division wild card spot in this division, because this division was very tough last year with the Yankees and the Orioles. The Red Sox they were 500 last year, but I do have them definitely improving. But no, I still have the Yankees actually winning the division, with the Red Sox being the wild card team in this division.
I originally had the Sox in fourth. I moved them to third, actually. I have them missing the playoffs. And it's nothing against Bregman. I think Isaac Paredes having half his games at whatever it is, I think it's called Daikin Stadium now, old Minute Maid Park with the Crawford boxes. He's a Deadpool hitter. I know Boston has the monster, and Bregman's numbers there are nasty, but kind of a small sample size. So that's no shade at Bregman for that.
I know. To be honest, I don't blame you for that. That is a small sample size, and I don't think it translates over 162.
No, not over 162. And it's not that I dislike the Red Sox roster. It's just I like the Yankees and Orioles rosters just a little bit better. Devers is good, terrible defensive third baseman, and with Bregman is going to be playing second, which is fine. You still have Story at short.
No. Bregman is going to be playing third. Devers is going to go to DH, and Christian.
Casas?
No, it's Tristan Casas is first base, but Christian Campbell. He's like a young stud. The Sox have a trio of three young studs: Christian Campbell, Marcelo Meyer, and Roman Anthony. Um, like they're just going to be nasty, but they're all like an inch away from coming up to the big leagues. But
I last I checked, I remember Devers was doing an interview in Spanish or whatever, and he had his translator there, and it was pretty much like, "No, I'm not moving off third base. Like that's my position." So that's what I was basing it off of. If he moves to DH, that's the correct move because Bregman's definitely better defensively, and you still need to keep Devers' bat in the lineup. And Bregman, if Devers needs to play a game at third to give someone a break and have them bat DH, it's a good move because it gives you some flexibility there. But yeah, I'm going to stick with the evil empire in the Yankees. I don't necessarily like that Garrett Cole is on the shelf for the season and that Luis Gil is going to miss a good chunk of it. But you brought in Max Fried, and their rotation already was pretty deep to start off with Rodon, who hasn't been necessarily great, but he's still a pretty decent pitcher. Clark Schmidt and Marcus Stroman. And I like bringing in Bellinger to that ballpark. He's a lefty with power, and you got that short porch in right field. So I think he's going to take advantage of that, similar to what Juan Soto did last season. And I mean, I know Goldschmidt necessarily wasn't great for the Cardinals last season. Dave and I know that firsthand. But the Yankees didn't have a home run hit at the first base position from June, I think, to the end of the season. They got like no production at first base. So anything Paul Goldschmidt does is going to be an upgrade at that position. He's not going to win it.
Anthony Rizzo was good, but yeah.
What's that?
I still think Anthony Rizzo was good. I mean, he's still a good first.
Well, he had like the weird concussion thing where they didn't diagnose it, and I think he hurt his hand. But I think Goldschmidt can bring a leadership presence to this clubhouse somewhat. I know he wasn't great, and I know Dominguez has been having issues playing left field in spring ball. I just it's hard for me to bet against the team that was pretty good, dominant last season and made the World Series last year. I still think they're at the top of this division. I didn't even mention Aaron Judge yet. I think my hot take with him is because I think their lineup isn't great. He's going to walk 160 times this year. He's going to lead the league in walks.
You guys ready for my crazy prediction?
Sure.
I can continue in this division, which I went nuts with. Alicia and Matt DeBlasi, cover your ears. I think that the Yankees are going to be in fourth place in this division.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
You know what? Like, you guys are giving a lot of reasons why the Yankees aren't actually that good. Look at them on paper. Their roster is not better than a lot of the other teams in this division. Aaron Judge is amazing. Like you said, he's lost the guy who was hitting in front of him. Chisholm's good, but is he great? No. Goldschmidt, I'm banking that he's washed. If he goes back to like prime Goldschmidt, sure, I'm wrong about this, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I think you're overselling their rotation. I think losing Cole was devastating. I mean, Rodon, Fried, Stroman is a good trio, but there's not an ace of those three. I don't think Fried's an ace. I'm not a huge fan. I know he's been good in Atlanta, but Atlanta develops their pitchers really well. He's going to Yankee Stadium. I don't think he's going to be as good. I think their bullpen will be pretty good. I like them picking up Devin Williams, but I think that this is going to be the year from hell for the Yankees. And don't forget, Judge has a lot of injury history. He was healthy last year. I believe he might have been healthy the year before, but if he gets injured, this team's going to fall off a cliff. Yeah. And I'm telling you what, I think that there are 3 teams that have better rosters than the Yankees in this division. One of them we already mentioned, which is the Red Sox, and there's 2 more that we'll get into.
I disagree that there's 2 more. There's definitely one, and that's the Orioles.
Okay, then I'm going to tell you that the team that I have in second place, I'm still going crazy with this division.
Wow.
I have the Orioles in third place, and I have the Toronto Blue Jays in second place.
You're such an idiot. You did this last year, I think.
I had them win the division last year.
Get off the legacy birds. They are done. This is the last year of them.
Let me provide the case. I think that this roster is better than the Yankee roster.
Can I call a timeout real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Matt just called Dave an idiot on the air. That's how strong he feels about
I know
this.
it's crazy. How many people would have said it was crazy to think the Tigers were going to make the playoffs last year? There's a team that comes out of nowhere.
They barely did it last year. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But I think for you, that's the Red Sox.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I know. I'm taking big swings. I think okay. So, I forgot where you took the timeout. Now I'm
just go from the
okay.
top. We got all night.
All right, fine. All right, so I'm going to go crazy here. I think that the second best team in this division, I'm taking the Toronto Blue Jays to be second. I know it's crazy. I know they burned me last year. They're over under 78.5. Please smash the over on this, even if you don't agree with me on second place. Look at their team, okay? Bo Bichette is a great player. George Springer was terrible last year. Do you think he's going to be terrible this year? I think he's going to bounce back. Vlad Guerrero Jr., one of the best first basemen in the league. They picked up Santander from the Orioles. He had 40-something home runs last year. This team is stacked. And then look at their pitching, which was a mess last year. Like, there's no way it's not going to be better. You have Barrios, you have Gausman. They were pretty good last year, but I think they're going to be much better this year. And then Bassett, who's been solid, wasn't good last year. But once again, this is like, you have to look for candidates of players who were uncharacteristically bad last year, like we said with the Braves. They got Jeff Hoffman from Philly, who's going to be their closer. I think that's really important for them. I don't see why they're 78.5. I really don't. Like, this lineup is better than the Yankees lineup. And I don't think their pitching staff's that much worse. Honestly, without Cole, the Yankees without Cole, their pitching staff is not any better than this one, in my opinion. And their lineup's definitely not better. So why are the Yankees 89.5 and the Blue Jays are 78.5?
I'll go back to something you said about Bo Bichette. You said Bo Bichette's a great player, and you said Riley Green is like okay. Their career OPS is the same. Riley Green has less time in the league, but Bo Bichette is probably one of the most overrated players. He's been on a downward trajectory. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had a breakout season last year. He not breakout. He had a couple good season a couple years ago. Sorry. But I think he's gonna walk. He might get traded if this team doesn't get off to a hot start. The only big signing that they had, like you said, was Santander, and they brought in Max Scherzer. Fine. Max Scherzer, at this point in his career, similar to what I said for Verlander, it's like Verlander is still good, but they're at the tail end of their career. He's not going to be that same Max Scherzer that we saw in 2018. You know, even going back further, he's older. He's washed. Bassett is getting older. He had a down year last year. I don't know if he's going to bounce back. You have George Springer. He's getting older. He's washed. Dalton Varsho, I think, is good defensively. He needs to get that bat going, and he just consistently has not been able to do it. The Blue Jays have been a trendy pick now for the past 5 seasons, and they've underperformed pretty much every season. It's time to get off that bandwagon because it's going straight into the ground. They've tried to sign Ohtani. They tried to sign Juan Soto. They haven't been able to get any of those marquee names into their system, and it's the end for Toronto. Sorry, Canada. That's it. I have them in 4th place in this division. I like that you went crazy. That's fine.
Canada, I stand with you.
We'll go move there. They have the worst. They have the worst odds to win this division, plus 1,300. If you're that high, you could sprinkle a little on them. I just don't think that they're going to be that good. I think, like I said, I think Bo Bichette's the most overrated player.
Hold on,
MLB.
let me respond to that point because I thought I was going crazy. Great player was strong. You're right, but he hit 225 last year. How is that not an outlier when you look at the rest of his career averages? 311, 301. 298, 290, 306, and then 225 last year. He's, he's still young. He's 26 years old. I think last year is an outlier. I think he's going to hit around 300 this year.
Right, but the Blue Jays as a whole are not an outlier. They constantly underperform. That was more my point. I mean,
You're right. You're right. They do. But I'm looking at their roster, and this isn't football. Like, culture is not as important as a good roster. And so I'm just going to look at their roster. But you're right. They have underperformed.
Their roster has been talented. That's what I'm saying. It's a talented roster. It sucks people in every year. I think people are getting smarter to not go with them, but it's a roster that sucks people in every single year. So, I mean, if this was 3 years ago, I'd be right there with you, but I've seen it go downhill the past couple of years. So, yeah, I'm keeping them in fourth place. And then the Rays, they're also playing in a minor league ballpark. I have them in last. I'm glad you don't have them, winning this division, because when you said you were going to go crazy, I was like, don't have the Rays, please.
Yeah, I think the Rays are going to be bad because I like the other 4 teams much better. I actually have the Orioles in third place, but I have them in the playoffs. I think they're due for a regression, though. Their lineup's still good. Gunner's a superstar, although he's starting the season unhealthy. Rushman's great. But you're relying on guys like, Kauser and Westberg to be as good as they were last year, and Mountcastle as well. And they lost Corbin Burns. Their pitching is a problem, I think. So yeah, I have them fourth or third, and then the Yankees fourth.
Okay, yeah. I have Orioles second, and I have them in the wild card. I think their lineup is pretty good. I don't know. They have a lot of young guys. This is still a very young team. I expect Grayson Rodriguez to take a step forward. Zach Eflin is all right. Yeah, their rotation isn't the best, but it's Camden Yards. It's a pretty big ballpark. They brought in Tyler O'Neill, like you said. Yeah, I just don't see them overtaking the Yankees in my eyes, so I have them second. I think them and the Yankees is going to come down to the final 2 weeks for these teams. I think it's going to be, within 3 games, and whoever gets hot will win this division. And I just think the Yankees at that point will be a little bit better. But I'm the Orioles might be another, like, we look back on the Orioles a few years from now, they might be the new Blue Jays.
So for my AL East, I have Yankees winning it, Red Sox in second, making the wild card, and then Orioles, Rays, Blue Jays. 2 things that we didn't touch on for the Red Sox were the Red Sox still have Weiler Abreu. He's a Gold Glover. He's hurt to start the year, and then we're still waiting for Trevor Story to do something. He's kind of like the new Chris Sale. And then I think, like, if we got rid of him today, he'd go play for another team and be amazing. So hopefully that happens for us. But I like Marcelo Meyer, who's going to be our future shortstop. But I think he's going to be amazing. But yeah, I think the Red Sox will sneak in there.
Okay, so who do you have for your playoff teams?
For the AL, I have Yankees, Royals, Mariners, and then my wild cards are Red Sox, Guardians, Astros.
I have Yankees winning the East, Kansas City winning the Central, Texas winning the West, and I have a wild card from each. I have Seattle, Cleveland, and Baltimore.
Okay, I have the Astros and Mariners in the West, the Royals in the Central, and the Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Orioles in the East. We have to wrap up, but before we do, let's just real quick just throw out your World Series picks and maybe MVP and Cy Young just so we can have them out there before the season starts. Who do we like real quick?
I am going to go Kansas City and the Mets. I'll go wild on my World Series picks.
Wow. That is wild. I will also go wild. I'm going Braves over Naveen's Boston Red Sox.
Wow.
In the World Series.
I'm gonna go Dodgers Red Sox.
Okay. Wow, that is wild. All right, so MVP, I got Ohtani in the NL, and then Bobby Witt in the AL, and then Cy Young. Oh, go ahead. What do you got? Go ahead. You do it.
My MVPs were the same exact 2.
All right, there we go.
All right, now I gotta switch it up.
Wait, you really have the same 13?
You have the same thing?
Yeah, but National League MVP. I said it last year. I said Bryce Harper. I'm not gonna go with him. Yeah, whatever. Give me Shohei and Bobby Witt. I'll stick with that.
All right, we all did it.
That's crazy.
And then Cy Young, I got Skeens and Crochet.
I have Sale and Crochet.
I have Gilbert in the American League. National League, I have who did I put down in the National League? I'll go with Skeens. I don't think he's gonna perform to the level he did last year, but I think he's gonna be electric and be able to win it.
All right, guys. Good stuff. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Enjoy March Madness. Enjoy the start of baseball. Gentlemen, excited to spend some time with you guys this weekend.
All right, see you guys.
All right, go Duke.